Hello and welcome to a look at Golden Axe for the Commodore 64. A SEGA arcade original that was converted by Probe and released by Virgin Mastertronic. Golden Axe is plot-wise a classic bad guy being a bad guy, and in this case the bad guy has kidnapped the queen and king, and obviously because the characters that you can play, they need to have a personal reason to go and try and rescue the king and queen. The bad guy has killed one of their family members each. So depending on which character you select to play, they have a grudge against the big baddie bad guy called the Death Adder. The introduction showcased the different characters and what their grudge might be against the big baddie bad guy. As you can probably gather, it is a side-scrolling beat-em up, so to speak. I suppose, if you were smacking people with weapons, it's still sort of a beat 'em up, or should I say slash 'em up, or bash 'em up, or yeah, whatever. It all fits in a similar category. Of course, the fact that it is a beat 'em up featuring weapons is somewhat unique, or at least it was somewhat unique at the time. And of course, the fact that you don't only rely on your weapons, but also have a magical power that you can use. Depending on which character you play, they have different magical foundation, or magic foundation I should say. We have earth magic, lightning magic and fire magic that the different characters are using, and as you can see on the interface in the bottom will say what stage we're on. Underneath that we have our hit points. Every single time you get knocked down we lose 1 hit point, and if we lose 3 hit points we lose a life, which is the number next to the 3 blue boxes. In the middle of the screen it showcases the character we're playing, just in case we forgot, and to the right of it you have magic, and the magic number above it is basically the stage of magic. The dwarf has the lowest potential maximum stage of magic, the barbarian has the second highest, and the Amazon, which is the character we are currently playing, has the highest magic potential. You are gaining magic by having the blue guys. It's very hard to describe them because of political correctness, but shall we say individuals of smaller stature wearing a blue cap. If you bash them about, they will drop a potion, a magical potion, which will increase your magical power. There will also be some individuals of minor stature wearing green, and they will drop a piece of food that you can pick up and regain 1 hit point. As you can probably gather, depending on what stage of magic you have, it will be more or less powerful, and the lowest stages of magic will barely do any damage to enemies, whereas of course at maximum power you can expect a certain amount of damage being done. From a graphical point of view, this version both impresses me and disappoints me at the same time. Specifically the backgrounds. They have in certain areas an almost old school comic book black and white style to them, which I quite enjoy. And by the way, I just want to showcase the sword wielding axe battler. Yeah, I've always found that to be bizarre. That aside, the characters graphics, or the character graphics I should say, both playable characters and enemies, they are somewhat resembling the arcade original, but I think that it feels a bit coarse. Specifically the dwarven character we are playing at the moment. I don't know what to think of the way he looks, but the color choices are, I guess, for a Commodore 64 game perfectly okay, but it makes it feel very, very uninteresting, I think is a good term for it. The variety of enemies is very limited. You only fight one enemy at a time, and um, you have the male characters and female characters that you also find in the arcade game, and some of the larger enemies as well, which we'll bump into in a moment. Um, Again, the graphics are you can tell that a character or enemy is male or female, but it's only doing the absolute minimal it needs to do. The title music is very, very decent. I find it quite enjoyable. But the in-game music, because this version allows you to play with either music or sound effects, um, it's a good quality, but I find it a bit bland, to be honest. It doesn't do anything for me. The quality is good, but there's just the composition itself I find distinctively bland. And then we have the sound effects. The step sound effects I find to be extremely basic. It reminds me of a certain game, I just can't remember what game it is. But it's rather flat. The remaining sound effects are not particularly interesting. The sound of fighting, the grunts, and all that kind of stuff, they do exactly what they need to do, but nothing more. Not poor, but just not particularly spectacular either. The controls lead into the gameplay, because the gameplay is a side-scrolling beat 'em slash 'em up, whatever you call it. But the fighting moves you have available are, except for the jump slash, a cycle of 3 animations, and it doesn't matter what range you are fighting at, the game will cycle through the 3 different animations every single time. So if you just stand by yourself with no enemies and hammer the fire button, it will cycle through the slash, the kick, and the third one, whatever it is. I suppose that is an acceptable limitation, but it means that the gameplay unfortunately becomes extremely bland, because you are only facing one enemy at a time, and you have those 3 fighting animations to cycle through without any chances of scoring extra hits like you can in the arcade version. And of course the jump slash, which is okay, but the enemies will quickly start to avoid it and take you out of the sky. It's not a bad version, but compared to every other version I've played, it is unfortunately decidedly dull. On that note, thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye.